Hey, everybody. Welcome to an unscheduled live. And this is actually the first time that I'm streaming into LinkedIn Live. So that's incredibly exciting to be there on that platform and talk to all the thousands of people I'm connected there. So I just wanted to get on a little bit and actually make a commitment that I'm going to be doing more live broadcasts to multiple platforms, and I want to interview some people. I want to give you guys some resources to help you out. So this is just really a more of a dry run, trying to make sure the technology is all working and everything's showing up where it needs to on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn Live. So if you're joining from LinkedIn Live, drop a comment here and let me know where you're watching from. So I wanted to share a little bit of my personal journey and things that have happened over the last several years with the hopes of inspiring you and other people on how to make changes in your life professionally. Let's face it, over the last several years, it's been a year and a half that we've been in this new pandemic situation. Life has taken a left turn that nobody saw coming. And there's a lot of people questioning what they're doing professionally for work, what they're doing with their life, and how to make the most of it, how to live more deeply connected with their potential. And you know what? There has also been a lot of negative commentary about what's been happening in the world. It seems like people are more frustrated now than ever before, and I think rightly so. All of the frustrations people have had within are really starting to show up in their lives and in their workplace professionally. And one of the biggest challenges is, how do we stay sane? How do we stay happy? How in the world do we stay productive? And how do we ever go off and achieve something more than we've ever done before if we're having all of this pressure around us and at work and at families and in our social circles? And the biggest thing is the talk and the chatter that's happening around us or on social media. And this is the other reason why I'm starting to stream in. I'm going to be streaming in more regularly. Most of the chatter is negative. It's not positive. There's a lot of frustration, like I said, rightly so, and a lot of people are angry, and a lot of people sound off with that frustration. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but I'm saying, where are the positive voices? Where are those that are uplifting and inspiring? There's a lot of people saying, you're right, you should be frustrated or you should be angry, and you are not getting what you're worth from your employer, and you should be spending more time with your family and all of these things, but it comes from a place of anger. And I want to talk about maybe the issue that's underneath that, the feeling of powerlessness. And I think that over the last year and a half, we can all agree, we feel like we've had some power from our lives taken from us. And there are other people making decisions. Now, I'm not going to get political and say one thing about masks or vaccinations or any of that. Your opinions are your opinions. And I used to be very opinionated in that. I used to be very outraged by whatever was going on. And that was a symptom of the powerless feeling I was having on the inside. And when we're powerless, we feel like we need our voices to be heard. And the only way to do that is to be angry and frustrated and express it. And that's a poor coping mechanism we've had since we were children. Temper tantrums sometimes got us our way. But the powerless feeling on the inside is a symptom of something much greater, because even long before the pandemic, we felt powerless with our lives. We felt powerless with our careers, the amount of money we were earning, and the direction we wanted our lives to go. And that powerlessness is sometimes called imposter syndrome. This is where you are feeling like, I'm not good enough on the inside. I don't have the education, I don't have the certifications, I don't have the training, I don't have the background, I don't have the experience. I don't know how to maybe start my own business or be an entrepreneur. I don't know how to earn more money. I don't know how to do things the way that I have this desire to do those things, but I feel like I can't. I'm not good enough. I don't have the background. I don't have the training. And in fact, sometimes we feel like we're not even good enough for the success that we have. You might be very comfortably earning six figures and in the kind of role that you love, whether you're working for yourself or working for someone else, you might have that, but not even feel good enough to maintain it. And let me tell you something, the number one complaint that professionals have, especially those that are in the C-suite, okay, that are in C-level positions, CEO, COO, CMO, whatever you want to call it, all of those C-suite positions, the number one thing that people are feeling is imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough. What if my colleagues find out I'm not as good as they think I am, really? If they really got to know me, if the board of directors found out that I'm not as good as they think I am, would I have this position? So even if you have some kind of status feeling that you're not good enough to maintain it, and this imposter syndrome comes about for one reason and one reason only. And I want to actually quote here from this book, Psycho-Cybernetics. This was written in 1960 by Maxwell Maltz. And it's the go-to, in my sense, Bible for understanding our self-image, how we view ourselves, and how that creates the world around us, our opportunities, our advancement, our successes. He says in here, it is not knowledge of actual inferiority in skill or knowledge or education, let's say, that gives us an inferiority complex and interferes with our living. It is the feeling of inferiority that does this, right? So it's not like someone came up to you and said, you are lacking in this knowledge or this experience. Some people are jerks and might say that. But it's more about the feeling. And that feeling of inferiority comes about for just one reason. We judge ourselves and measure ourselves not against our own norm or par, but against some other individual's norm, meaning we compare ourselves to other people. You look at someone else's results. You look at someone else's career and promotions, or even worse than that, we look at somebody else's Instagram account, or we look at what other social measures we have, how someone dresses, or the house that they're in, or the car, and we judge ourselves. We do this. We elevate them and we diminish ourselves. And so we really widen that gap. And that's more of a feeling than any factual information. Now, beyond that point, because we think and believe and assume that we should measure up to someone else's standards, we feel miserable, second rate, and conclude there's something wrong with us. So if you're watching this and you have concluded there might be something wrong with you because you don't measure up, I'd love to have you type a 1 in the chat. There's a couple people that are watching. I'd love to have you mention that in there if you feel that way. And I ask for this kind of engagement from you guys because I know that you are not alone. You have these thoughts and these fears and these feelings in the back of your mind, and those sit there and fester and grow and start to control your life. And when you start to realize that you and everybody else around you are thinking similarly about yourselves and your potential, and you're limiting yourself, then you start to realize, but maybe there's nothing wrong with me. It's just how I've been thinking. So the next logical conclusion that people make, feeling inferior to others, right? Looking at other people's results and going, wow, you've done this and I am nowhere near as good, and creating that gap. The next conclusion is to conclude that we are not worthy and that we do not deserve success and happiness, and that it would be out of place for us to fully express our abilities and talents, whatever they might be, without apology and without feeling guilty about it. So that's from the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. This is the number one thing that plagues people individually, spiritually, professionally. And it did for me for a very long time. You know, there were a whole lot of instances I had growing up with peers that I was associating with almost every single boss I ever had was a bully and emotionally abusive. There were a lot of those events that built in my heart the belief that I wasn't good enough, the belief that I couldn't have the happiness, success, and achievement that I somehow knew that I could have. I didn't know how to do it. And what happened is I took all of those voices from the outside all of the negativity from around me, and I internalized that, and I allowed myself to repeat those words, and I believed them. Again, it's not the fact of inferiority, it's the feeling, and that feeling, that emotion, is really the effort of a belief that you've adopted. And the truth is this, is that you have infinite potential. Now, my background is as a career coach, helping people get better jobs, helping people find jobs where they were on purpose and had passion. And I want to tell you without question, your belief that you can't do something is the only reason you aren't doing the thing you want to be doing. That's it. Personally, professionally, it doesn't matter. If you believe that you're not good enough and that you can't, you won't. What you have to do is start changing that voice that's in your head. And instead of saying that you can't, you have to start changing that voice to say that I can. So let me tell you this. You are created with total perfection and intrinsic value, meaning you have value whether you have status, money, possessions or not. When you think about a baby and you hold a baby and you look at the baby, that baby has value. Now, that baby cannot contribute to the economy. That baby cannot do anything but eat and poop and sleep. That's it. But there's some intrinsic value in that small child. And you have that same value too. And that value, that spiritual creation that we are a part of, has power. You have that power too. You need to be able to express that power. We need to catch on fire with our potential and our dreams and then start to express it. So I actually have a workshop coming up next week. It's going to be 5 days. I'm calling it Ignite the Power Within Yourself because that's what I had to do. I had to start to understand my own power and step into it. And so that's what I'm calling it, Ignite the Power Within Yourself. It's 5 days. We're going to talk about who you are and how your mind works. We are going to talk about why you let so much from the past affect your current mindset and learn to forgive and let go. Do you know that forgiveness means to let go of something completely and abandon it? And we don't know how to do that. And you really have to fall in love with yourself. You have to love yourself deeply enough to really see that potential and want to see it expressed. And when you choose what your life is going to look like, when you choose your goals and your dreams and decide to go after it, you are becoming self-actualized. It's the highest state in our needs. We need to be self-actualized. We have a need to create our life, to have an impact on others, not just personally, but professionally as well. And that is extremely powerful to be self-actualized. It's what we all want. And then on top of that, we need to decide to cut ties with the past and move into a new future. And that's what I'll be talking about next week. So if you're interested, I've included in this post a link to get registered for this next upcoming 5-day workshop. Now, I've got a workbook that I'm putting together. It's not done. Hopefully it gets done tomorrow. I've got a workbook. I have some mentors that are going to help you and answer questions and make sure you have the best experience possible. I'll be teaching for 1 hour a day over the next 5 days, starting on Monday. And those are the topics I'll be teaching about. If that is interesting to you, if you feel like you have had this voice in the back of your head saying that you are not good enough and you are not worthy enough, and you do not know how to forgive yourself and others in order to love yourself enough to express your potential, I want you to click on the link and I want you to register. I want you to come along. And I'm going to be streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and I'll be streaming on TikTok. So you guys can watch it everywhere. And I want this to help you start to see and express that innate value and worth that you have on the inside. Yeah, Melissa, I see that we all have innate worth and value. It's not just earned, it is in us. So if that's something you would like to do, click on the link and get registered. We will get you set up. We will tell you where to watch. We'll tell you how to engage and participate so that you get the most out of it. So Melissa, it's awesome to see that you're on LinkedIn. So I know now the LinkedIn Live is working. So that's a whole lot of fun. And I will be doing some more of this. So I'll be coming on and I will share a couple of other videos from now and through the weekend to prepare you for this. But for now, that's enough. If you're coming, make a comment in the post. Say, I'm in, I'm registered, I'm coming, because we want to have you there. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening and a great weekend coming up, and I'll see you soon.